show we have today, Kevin Sorbo. I love talking to the Hollywood actors and the filmmakers. We got a powerful movie coming out that is based on a real true story, and it's gripping. Cuba Gooding Jr. is in it, Kevin Sorbo. Got the interview for you. You don't want to miss it. We're going to do a deep dive. This guy's so outspoken. So he said stuff that made me nervous, and when it makes me nervous, it's good. So but I'm listen. It's Memorial Day's coming up, and I got to tell you something. When I travel around the world, and I have traveled 3 million miles now, been so many countries. You know what I miss when I'm traveling? A hamburger. I want to come back to the United States and eat a burger. And so I'm excited because I've got every month free Wagyu burgers coming in with my shipment of Good Ranchers. Now, the reason why Good Ranchers is important is, give me a minute on this. I don't like the vaccine deal. I don't like what they're putting in. I don't trust the government, like injecting stuff into me. It's like they're crazy. They think we're going to get it over to you one way or another. You want the injection, we'll get it to you in the food. Well, I want no mRNA vaccines or antibiotics in anything I eat. You know, I don't want it injected in the cattle. So Good Ranchers guarantees it's free from mRNA contamination. It's and also I just found out there's 4 billion, 4 billion foreign beef imports come in every year. I didn't know that. That means you don't know what's coming in, inside this stuff from a foreign country, and it's all labeled American. We outsource it and put an American label on it. Good Ranchers is the only place I know that is going to be pure, 100% vaccine-free, holistic, healthy meat. Now, here's what you do. You go to lancewallnau.com/Good Ranchers, lancewallnau.com/Good Ranchers, and you pick the monthly shipment that you want. You get it shipped to you. You lock in the price once, and it stays that way for the whole year. Every month with your shipment, you get like 8 of these Wagyu delicious hamburgers coming with it. But you know, my wife is the surf and turf girl, so she likes the seafood shipment. Plus, I like the hamburgers and the steak stuff. But it comes to the house, all local, all American, all supporting an American farmer, local, doesn't have the injections. You can't beat it. And you love the food because it's the best possible. Best Memorial Day celebration you're ever going to have. Go to lancewallnau.com/Good Ranchers to get the free Wagyu burgers in the next deal you make. So I want you to do this. You'll be so happy you did. And you'll think of me when you're biting into that burger. Let's get into the show. Well, welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show. I've got Kevin Sorbo here ready to go. Kevin, welcome. I got my son Carl here with me, who is a movie buff. And, it's so funny because, you're still well known for Hercules. So, it's kind of like I was listening to Christopher Walken. He's upset with the fact that everybody talks about Cowbell from SNL. It's not the most important thing he ever did, but everybody loves this segment. But like my son says, hey, you've got the guy from Hercules on. I said, yeah, that's Kevin. So, but one thing that's fascinating to me, and I want to go in here for a second, is that you've got an autobiography called True Strength, which is out, and it details your recovery from a series of strokes. So here you're playing Hercules. I didn't know that you had a series of strokes in the 1990s. Tell us about that, because I don't think even my audience knows that.
Yeah, it was at the end near the end of season 5 on the series. I shot 7 years down in New Zealand on it, and look, I was having all kinds of problems with my left shoulder the last 3 months leading into that season 5. Couldn't figure what was going on with my shoulder. My arm was killing me. My fingers were cold and numb, and it was just weird. But I was doing most of my own stunts because my ego said that I could, and I enjoyed doing it because I'm a jock from football and basketball days through high school and college and everything. And it was just I got back to LA to do promotional work on my first big budget movie for Universal Studios called Call the Conqueror, the prequel to Conan the Barbarian. And I get to New York, and I'm doing Letterman and all these other shows, and they sent a doctor to my hotel room because my arm just felt weird. And he said, you better get this checked out. It could be something pretty serious. I get back to LA. My doctor finds a lump up here. That lump ended up being an aneurysm that for months had been slowly spitting blood clots down into my arm. But unfortunately, when it opened up, neurologists call it retrograde flow. it put 4 clots into my brain. I suffered 4 strokes. Obviously, that could have killed me right away. Could be in a wheelchair the rest of my life. But where those blood clots went to was my balance, my speech, and my vision. My speech was able to come back relatively quick. I worked hard in that, but it took me 4 months to learn how to walk and balance again. It took me 3 years to fully recover from it. So if you look at season 6 and 7 on Hercules, you can see I lost a lot of muscle mass. I wasn't able to work out. I went from about 230 pounds down to about 210. And they brought a lot of guest casting in, and they just did what they could to sort of keep the show going. But it took me 3 full years to really feel 100% again, and it was rough. And I wrote the book called True Strength: My Journey from Hercules to Mere Mortal, How Nearly Dying Saved My Life. And it was weird because I wasn't planning on that to become as big a seller as it was. I wasn't planning on people all of a sudden calling me to speaking events. So now, since 2012, I've been averaging about 12 to 15 speaking events every year, ranging everything from pro-life to Christian education to motivation to health, all these kinds of things. So it's been an interesting sideline job for me these last 12 years.
Well, and then right after that, I guess you did God's Not Dead, where you play an atheist professor, and a lot of folks in the Christian community were impacted by that because it was commercially successful. It had a large audience, and I guess since then you've been really focused on taking a strong stand, which is rare in Hollywood, for what you believe. Tell us what's that like? Because to us it's still a bit of a mystery how Christians and conservatives can exist in Hollywood. What's your experience?
They really can't. You got to be quiet about it, and I wasn't quiet about it. My first really faith-based movie was called What If, back in 2010, directed by Dallas Jenkins, who, of course, is well known for doing The Chosen, right? And his father's Jerry Jenkins, who wrote the Left Behind books with Tim LaHaye. So when I did What If, I said, these are the kind of movies I want to keep doing. The trouble with independent movies is, how do you get them out there when you don't have a big budget, advertising budget? You shoot a $3 million movie, you don't have a $100 million advertising budget like they do for Deadpool and Avengers on these $300 million movies. So we got to rely on word of mouth. God's Not Dead, obviously, word of mouth. That $2 million budget, we shot it for nothing, made $140 million. So it was one of those rare things. But that really cemented for me, I wanted to keep doing movies that had a positive impact on people instead of a negative one. You see what Hollywood's doing. They just keep putting out crap and more woke stuff, and people are tired of it. I get stopped all the time. You mentioned Hercules. I'm grateful for that series, but people stop me all the time now because of God's Not Dead, Soul Surfer, Let There Be Light, and all these other movies. And that's what I'm going to keep on making. I enjoy making them. I've done secular movies since then. I've got 2 movies coming out later. One I played a vampire in. I had a blast. It was a comedy, but I had a good time doing it. But for the most part, I would do movies that Hollywood used to do, movies that have hope, redemption. The good guy wins, not the bad guy. Hollywood loves celebrating hate and anger and sex. You know that.
Right. Well, you got that. So what's your next big project that we need to know about? What's coming out? And I think we have a trailer. I want to make sure my staff has it ready. What's coming up next?
The Firing Squad. Go to firingsquadfilm.com. It's a true story. And the character I'm in it with Cuba Gooding Jr. and James Barrington did a great job in it. He's really like the main guy in it. But I play a guy that when he was surfing in Indonesia, American over there, he saw his girlfriend being flirting with the guy on the beach. He got mad and he killed the guy. Well, he gets arrested. He gets a death sentence in Indonesia. Then they do it by the firing squad. Well, during his decades in jail, he became a Christian. He became a pastor, and he saved not millions. They saved many souls of other inmates in guards while he was in there. And near the end of the movie, when he gets assassinated, when he gets executed in front of the firing squad, he wouldn't wear the blindfold. He'd look straight at the guys across from him that he's gotten to know all these years, and he says, "God loves you." And then he was executed in 2015.
Dang, brother.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was how the story ends up. Yeah, really.
No, there's more to it. Trust me. That the main character really is James Barrington's character. He's the last guy to come in. The story really revolves around him. You do find out about my past and why I'm there, but I'm sort of like the Gandalf in this movie, right? I show up every 5th or 6th scene to sort of help guide this kid, and it was a really hardcore atheist, hater, bad drug dealer, murderer, and all this kind of stuff. And I look at him as my last thing I got to do before I leave this earth.
Wow. So you portray this Pastor Lynbrook.
Yep.
And So he was a pastor in prison, I guess. That's what he was
He
doing?
became a pastor while in prison. Went through all the courses. He asked if he could take all the courses and get a degree and whatever he had to do, but he became a pastor while he was in prison.
Chelsea, do you have that trailer?
If you go to Firing, there it is.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see.
Lord Heavenly Father, I pray to you today to guide us tomorrow. Give us strength as we face death. Help us not to be afraid, as we know that we are going to be coming to your kingdom.
That's intense. So what's your thoughts?
I'm curious for you what type of preparation you had to do, not just to get into the mindset, but to kind of fill out the character before going in front of the camera.
You know, I did. I mean, the script was a great script, and it kind of fills it that way. But what did it for me more than anything else was, I got to the set, and they, for some reason, the lighting or whatever, they wanted to get this one scene shot outside before they started filming my first scene. So we had a prison that's been abandoned for decades in northern Florida here, and that was a location. And I went in the prison by myself. There was nobody else in there. They were filming outside with everybody else. And I walked through this prison, and I'll tell you, it was creepy. I mean, you're kind of going, this would be perfect to shoot a scary movie, because it was old. It hasn't been in use for a long, long time. And I walked into one of the cells. They can't be more than 10 feet by 7 feet. I mean, they're small, and they got these metal bunk beds just bolted into the wall. And I sat down on one of the beds, and I'm in this room by myself. I kind of could feel the ghosts of the spirits of whatever happened in there before. And I thought to myself, I don't need to be scared straight to not want to go to prison. You should bring kids. I don't need a mass murder to scream at me as a teenager that you better straighten out your life. I think you take troubled teens, put one of them at a time in there, and let them go in there by themselves and go, wow. This could be your home, this little space for the next 20, 30 years of your life. And I thought that to me would make anybody, unless they're insane, not want to go to prison. And that really, to me, I was like, where do you find salvation in a place like this? And that's what happened to my character, which I thought was amazing, that this guy, even though he murdered someone, he tells the backstory, because a couple prisoners ask him, you've been here a long time, old man, what did you do to get in here? And he tells the story, and he says, I deserve to be here. I deserve to die for what I've done. It's a horrible thing what I did. But the story of the movie is, it shows you that in the worst of conditions, there is redemption and there is hope. And we live in such a crazy, insane, hateful world right now, where not everybody, but there's a large percentage of the population that wakes up every day and wonder, gee, what can I be mad about today? You know, and what a horrible way to go through life. There's no hope in these people's lives. This movie shows you that the obstacles that come in front of our lives can be overcome if you have the right mindset to want to do it.
Now, you collaborated on this film with Cuba Gooding Jr. He has a role in it. So what was that like working with him?
You know, it's really weird because we don't have any scenes together, but we're on set, you know, because he would have his scenes. They never put us together. And I think I was shooting another movie at the time, and so was he. So I think a lot of times they did a little reread on the script because they didn't know if we overlap enough. So we were only on set together for about half a day. But we've been at the screenings. There's been a number of screenings. And like I said, if you go to firingsquadfilm.com, you can see the testimonials of people come out of the theater. And they're just moved. I mean, some are visibly shaking and crying. And they're moved by the message of the movie. So it opens August 2nd, and we hope people line up. Tim Che was our director. I've been wanting to work with Tim for a long time, and it worked out great. The guy is so collaborative on set. He's so easy. He knows what he wants, but he's open to listen to other people's ideas on scenes and stuff like that, because I'm a director as well as a producer. So you better believe we might butt heads a couple times, because I'm going to say, no, I think it should be this way. But He was great, and I'm glad we finally got to do a film together. And I'm gonna do a Christmas movie with him later this year, and I'm looking forward to that as well.
You know, the amount of production that you're putting out is awesome. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back with Keven Sorbo. We're going to be talking about what he's doing to shake up the worlds of families, because he's got some interesting resources for parents and kids. I want to talk about that. We'll be right back. I want to take a moment to talk about the volatile financial time that we're in. And I want you to empower yourself with knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge, the Bible says. Visit lancewallnau.com/birch and get a free information kit. Consider discussing how to shift your 401k or your retirement account into a tax-sheltered gold and silver account. Why don't you go to lancewallnau.com/birch right now and take action for a secure future. All right, we're here with Keven Sorbo talking about the movie that's coming out August 2nd. And that, you know, I don't know if you know this, Kevin. I'm going to give a shout out. You have one of the most interesting Twitter gifts. I mean, I'm serious about this. You didn't mention it. It's nowhere in my material, but I'm one of your followers on X. Yep. And you've got, I'm telling you, you have some of the most memorable, I even I screenshot a couple of them here because I'm one of those people that is retweeting your stuff. I love this one. Can someone put a Trump endorsement on Biden's teleprompter to see if he'll read it? I mean, you're witty. You've got a great sense of irony, which is like almost like a Jewish comedy gift. Biden declares administration will never leave anyone behind except Americans held hostage by Hamas or trapped when Afghanistan fell or maybe killed by accident by a drone or murdered by illegal immigrants, with those exceptions. But that's a Babylon Bee quote. But I mean, that's people. You need to go ahead and sign up on X and get a hold of Kevin's wild rants that he does, because they're.
I think it's at K-Sorb. Follow me. I'm closing in on 2 million followers right now. I had 4 million on Facebook until COVID came along, and that wussy Zuckerberg and his little troll minions took me down for speaking the truth. They, of course, were saying it was misinformation and conspiracy theories. Of course, everything I said has now come true, so they should give my account of 4 million followers. So I post on Twitter, I need more conspiracy theories because all of mine keep coming true. And during COVID, I said, I know the best way to get rid of COVID. Tell the Clintons that COVID's got something on them.
Ooh. You see what I mean? This is you're a bit provocative with all this stuff. Now, talk to me about your focus and Sam Sorbo, your wife. I've done some events with her. She's really dialed in with your kids on making sure that children are being insulated or protected from the indoctrination, which is ubiquitous in the education system. So I'm assuming that's what led you to do some work for parents. The bare essentials of fatherhood is one you mentioned, and the test of lionhood. Talk to me about these every month things you're putting out.
Well, the whole thing with Brave Books, please go to bravebooks.com. Is a great place to go. They got the wonderful stuff. They do great stuff with family books, kids like between the ages of 4 and 10. So I started talking about the emasculation of men, and they've been doing it for decades, and certainly on television and movies they've been doing it. You look at the sitcoms, even from the 70s up till present, the dads are always out of shape, the moms are babes, the teenage kids use dad as a pincushion, and they're going after all the time and making fun. So I said, we need to show the importance of dads, but I also want to talk about what they're doing with kids. And my buddy Kirk Cameron was doing a lot of these Brave Books. He was reading his books at libraries, and some libraries get some people saying, we don't want them to read this. We'd rather have drag queens read to our 7-year-olds than Kirk Cameron. So I thought it was so funny. So they came to me, Brave Books. So I'm signed up with that. This is the test of lionhood. This book came out in September. And it deals with a story about Lucas the lion cub, and he learned everything about the dangers and the positive things about living out in the wild. Well, his little sister gets cut by a plant that he knows she's going to die unless they get a flower that's going to save her life. He knows how to get the flower. He knows he doesn't have time to go back and get his father or his mother to help him because she's going to die. So he finds his own courage. He's only 10 years old, so he's got to find his own courage, his own bravery, and get past any insecurities to do it in saving his sister's life. Well, he does it. And now we got Father's Day coming up next month. And so This book, it just got released. We're doing a lot of plugs for this right now. It's called The Bare Essentials of Fatherhood. Once again, Brave Books. This deals with the importance of fathers, the importance of having a mom and dad in the family to help raise kids the right way. I'll get attacked, of course, by everybody that's on the left and the crazy lunatics. I'm not anti anything. I'm just pro-child and I'm pro-family. God, please forgive me for being that way. But here we are.
So what? So now these include like stories and games and discussion. I mean, literally, is for parents that aren't involved with educating their children. It's a one-stop shop for engaging them. And the ideal age for this.
Do it because afterwards, after the stories, there's all kinds of pages of just guides and stuff to talk about with your kids, questions, games to play, things like that. It's just a wonderful way for 4 to 10-year-olds to get stories that are positive, stories that embrace morality, embrace the difference between good and bad, and good and evil, I should say. So please sign up for Freedom Island. There's wonderful stuff there, Brave Books. So bravebooks.com is a great place to go.
Bravebooks.com, folks.
Yes.
You're getting all these resources here, people. I hope you appreciate this. We got movies, we got books. How do you account for this prodigious production capacity? It's kind of unusual. Actors, as a rule, are not necessarily content creators. What is it in your history that made you capable of being so versatile like this?
Well, I think it's probably my parents. My parents, they were, like they grew up with farms in Iowa, hard work, don't expect handouts, get out there and work your butt off, have a strong will, all that stuff. And I just always been that way. I mean, I had a double business major, and I just applied that to show business because it's called show business, not show. And I just went after it. Look, I'm all about. I've got pages of this. These are all my list of to-do things. Okay, I got to write them down or I'll forget them. And I got pages, and I go through each one of these every day and go, these are my top 20 I got to take care of today. But I do juggle a lot of balls, and I do have a number of movies in post. I got 3 documentaries coming out.
All right. So what are the documentaries on? Talk to me about that.
Well, I worked with Ingenuity Films. Brett Miller does amazing work with these guys. We had the #1 documentary 2 years ago on Amazon. It's called Before the Wrath. It deals with the second coming, and I highly recommend it. It's amazing. I'm the voice on there. I'm the narrator of it. We have a follow-up book coming with this company that'll be out at Christmas time, and it's about the Last Supper, and it's called Eating with the Enemy, and it's wonderful. I just spent 3 weeks in Israel before the war broke out, and that's the other one. We spent 3 weeks going through archaeological digs, tracing the flow of the Ark of the Covenant. That's coming out at Christmas as well. That's called The Quest for the Throne of God. And then I got another documentary that is out right now, actually. It deals with the Hollywood Takeover, is entitled. Go to HollywoodTakeover.com. It's with Epic Times. Epic is also doing the movie Firing Squad as well. They're diving into that world. They want to start doing more and more movies. And this one, the Hollywood Takeover, deals with the Chinese takeover of Hollywood, because China is not only buying up all our farmland and poisoning the minds of children through their TikTok, because trust me, the TikTok in China is completely different than TikTok here in America. And
I know you say that. So for our audience that hears these things but doesn't really understand them, what content is on in China in TikTok?
All positive stuff, all about you are a good person, you are a good Chinese citizen, you are good. People that post stuff, they won't let you post anything that's negative there. They all are just posting good content, if you want to say good content. Maybe there's brainwashing going on. But here in America, what they're doing, some 40-year-old guy could dress in drag and do twerk in front of the camera. They will bolster that they will fake the number of followers of this guy so he makes even more money. The Chinese will actually pay these people looking at that will think that this guy, look what he's doing, making money. So they start copying that and emulating that. There's a destruction within America right now that's going on. It's not only a cultural war, but it's a religious and spiritual war as well.
It totally is. I was in China in 2010, and I met with some of the, oddly enough, Christians that are in the Communist Party. You don't know how that can happen, but I mean, there were saints in Caesar's household. And these were guys who were involved with media. And what they told me privately is they really lamented that the United States wasn't putting out more content that was wholesome, that was going to help to build stability and resourcefulness and responsibility in their citizens, because they're going to have to come up with their own material because the West is flooding them with garbage. And it was a market demand for something that would be, as the guy said, obviously we don't want to have Christianity being, highlighted. But as believers, we're looking for content that would be wholesome and resonate with Christian values. And they came to the conclusion the collapse of their great enemy, the United States, was because of its promiscuity and weakness. And therefore, they came to that awakening that America's losing it because it's becoming decadent. And so, in a sense, we were like a cautionary tale. They saw our decline as being because of this woke ideology. And therefore, strangely enough, as communists, they would do the reverse. They would build healthy content, get an education, learn to play an instrument, understand engineering, and so it's, I wish more Americans understood that dichotomy. Real quick, Kevin, because I got like 2 minutes and then you got to bounce. And you get ready with one question real fast for this. But my question to you is, we have a lot of people that are saying, man, I want to be able to do entertainment. I want to be able to do media. And they're looking at Hollywood as though, obviously, that's a dead end. What's the alternative for aspiring artists and content creators in terms of where, if you could have a map with unlimited funding to create an alternative vehicle, what do we need in order to have our own impact on entertainment and arts?
I need those funders. I need those billionaires that are out there that are Christians and conservatives that jump on board. They don't have to be Christians. It's people that believe in a good moral values. It's as simple as that. Because right now it's not happening. And so people need to wake up and need to fight back. And we need funding for my movies. I do $3 million budgets. That's nothing compared to what Hollywood's doing. And yet I got to fight my way through to try to find that for every project that I do. And we need people we have to be as active as they are on the left. The left is very active in their hate and their anger. Well, we need to be active on the opposite of that. We need to be active on putting things out there with positive messages instead of negative ones. It's as simple as that.
And the reality is 65% of the U.S., if you poll them, they're consumers of what they want is uplifting content. Yeah. You know, that Ted Cruz, the movie, what was the movie that was done with the jet? Tom Cruise. I was surprised when I went to see that movie, about the Top Gun.
It was a Top Gun, yeah.
And it was all like pro-American. It was pro-virtue. It had character qualities. Well, and the movie was, you'd think Hollywood would say, hey, this formula works. I don't know why they have to come up with the bizarre stuff, because there really is an audience for wholesome material. I guess it's distribution is the question.
Well, China told them they got to take that what do you have, the logo on there of Taiwan or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They told them they have to take that off. Well, then COVID hit and they delayed the release of the movie. Then they released it. And during that time, I think Tom Cruise had a lot to do with this. He said, screw them. I don't care if it goes to China or not. They're turning away 1.5 billion people audience, but the movie still made over $1 billion. But China has the China takeover, Hollywood takeover documentary I told you about has that in there, and it's in there, and it's huge to show what's going on. That they will only they'll take movies in China if they're negative about America, but you can't have anything negative about China for sure.
They're guarding the gate, aren't they? So, Carl, one final question you got for Kevin?
Yes, sir. I know you have to leave, but I am curious if you could summarize or synthesize what are you ultimately hoping for as a direct consequence of all of these, pardon the pun, Herculean efforts on your part?
What am I hoping for?
Yes, sir.
I'm hoping that I hope people wake up. I hope people find the courage not to let fear rule their lives. COVID is a perfect example of where governments around the world controlled everybody's life through fear. And the stuff they did was evil beyond evil. Fauci and Gates should be in jail the rest of their lives. It's unbelievable what they did and what other governments are doing. You saw what happened in Australia, all that. I got buddies in Melbourne that told me stories you would not believe how bad the lockdown was. They're arresting people for walking out their front yard so their dog could take a pee, and there's nobody else outside. And the neighbors would call in. He's not wearing a mask. The closest person to him was 50 feet away in a house. Yeah. They still put the guy in solitary for 14 days. It's insane. And we need people to stop being sheep, wake up and fight back. This is ridiculous what we're doing. Our country's falling apart here as well. If America goes, trust me, the world's going to go too.
Well, we're in the fight of our life right now, but the good news is you're producing the kind of content that is needed, and I think that you're making an example that it's possible to be able to be courageous and outspoken and find a way to create the business enterprise still in America where you can get your thoughts out there. So thanks, Kevin, for what you're doing, and we're looking forward to tracking these movies. We're going to make sure everybody gets this broadcast. Thanks for your time, brother. I look forward to seeing you again.
FiringSquadFilm.com. Thank you.
God bless you. Well, well, there you have it. You have an example of somebody that not only doesn't compromise with their artistic gift and their own opinions, but figured out how to get it out there and make productions happen.
Yeah, and finding other people with similar morals and ethics in order to, like he said, they don't have to be Christians. They don't have to necessarily share my worldview, but they need to want healthy morals and boundaries and have that sense of ethics. So being able to join in with those other people who are like-minded in order to be in one accord and persevere. I believe it, folks. Well, listen, I can't believe the time is up that fast, and we're looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow on our next broadcast. You never know who we're going to have. We had some interesting guests this week, and every one of them is bringing something special. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. God bless you.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world.